Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for taking your time to be part of our viewers. I really appreciate your support. Political dark clouds are gathering in Western, and as in any other region, they are preparing for 2027. And there is a clamor to who will become the Mulembe Nation kingpin. And to be very precise, the Buhusu community are now torn in between Natembea and Wetangula. George Natembea, a first-time politician, came up with a political storm, and he is accusing the leaders who have been there of being very individualistic and very selfish. And for example, he says that Luya is the second largest community in the country, but he says they have never had any police commissioner or inspector general since independence. And he's saying that when it comes to the ranks, even of the military ranks, they have never had the chief of defense forces. And Natembea feels that it reaches a point where you have to negotiate for these things. You need to have someone to propel you. And he feels that if Moses Wetangula believes he's the third in command, Mudavadi believes that, I don't know, there's also the third in command is the chief cabinet secretary, then they should be fighting for their, some of their younger leaders to get into these positions, because there are very many lawyers in the military and very many lawyers in the police. And Natembea has a problem when leaders say that, I appointed or I proposed someone to be appointed a cabinet secretary or working at camps and all that, because he feels that this is not helping the community. And I believe he wants to start by conquering the Buhusu community, then expand his wings. And when you listen to some of his arguments, you will agree with him that people need to speak as a unit, because he's saying that if William Ruto decide today to kick out Mudavadi or to kick out Moses Wetangula, he will easily do that because they don't have many member of parliament. He said that if the lawyer community was talking as a unit, then they would have all the members of parliament in one basket, and someone would fear interfering with them. And for this, he's saying, let us say TAWE to Wetangula and his kind of politics.
Aya, njaa, umaskini, umutambo, umaskini, ukabila, mapendeleo, Ford Kenya, Wetangula, Pilato, Wetangula.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, Wetangula, being a veteran politician, is not taking this lying down. And he has decided that he wants to fight Natembea. And he has already decided that the healthiest Susan Nakhumicha is going to challenge Natembea for the gubernatorial position. I want us to read what the papers are saying. I was looking at Nation, and Nation is saying that why George Natembea's TAWE movement is giving Natembea Wetangula sleepless nights. And there's a section where they say that caught up in the crossfire is Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha, who is rumored to be preparing to challenge Mr. Natembea. And then it goes further to say that seen through a sharper political competition lenses, the gathering storm has been sparked off by the propping up of Health CS for 2027. As part of a larger political scheme, Wetangula is positioning the rambunctious Susan Nakhumicha for the Trans Nzoia governor's seat in the next general election. And they're saying that this has caused an inferno that could burn the whole of Western. Natembea seems to have known what is happening.
I feel like you're a lone wolf in this. You're on your own.
I'm not on my own. There are so many people, there are very many leaders who are just silent, and they are watching to see how this unfolds. And I'm sure if it goes the direction I think it's going to go, there are very many of them who are going to join the fold. The level of frustration out there, even among the leadership, is very high. But they can't just speak. There's this kind of fear. People, when other people talk freely, you go to Western, there's this kind of fear. When you say some of these things, you're going to be called and be told, kijana yetu ni mzuri, huyu mtu atamaliza wewe. You know, the people believe that you cannot challenge these leaders. But we are saying, let us sacrifice for the sake of the community. If somebody gets this message, they understand that we need to change, and they change, my mission will be done. So this is not about me, and I don't want it to be about me. I'm going to support anybody else who will come and articulate this one better than myself, and have more influence than myself. The leadership Western itakana kuwa ni harambe. We all contribute from Vihiga to Busia to Kakamega to Bungoma to Trans Nzoia, and we are saying, once as lawyers, if we are able to achieve what I'm talking about and get what's rightful share ours without blackmail, without being told do this and that before I do this, I'm sure even the small communities like the El Molo and the Ogek also get the rightful share. We don't want to get more than what is entitled to us, because that's also unfair. We just want to get what we are entitled to as the Luya nation, as others also get theirs. We believe there's somebody who's getting our share. We believe there's somebody who say, jana ya watu, they're not even serious, and then they go sharing this big position, so that we are left with somebody, bragging that I made somebody procurement officer at KEMSA. I made some very small things that don't really have no significance with the community. They
don't benefit the wider part of the population.
And then you assist somebody, but you don't let them work. They become your slaves. So that when you are going to a funeral, they all accompany you. If you find even a CS of health, people are dying. The doctors are on strike, but she's fighting in a funeral in Trans Nzoia. Where are the priorities? Because your party leader is there, therefore you all troop. Because you must show your loyalty. Vile mzee Moi alikuwa anafanya, what's happening in Western. That is the another want to change, that you can assist me become a PS, but please let me work. Because the moment you become a PS or a CS, you are now serving the nation, the Republic of Kenya. It's not even about you as an individual from Bungoma or from Trans Nzoia. It's about the Republic of Kenya. We've got serious national issues affecting the country. Let me have the time to handle these problems. But I can't have divided attention. Naenda nyumbani, where are you? Can you accompany me? Those kind of stories are doing.
So it's a bad politics that's been happening in Western Kenya for many years, like you've said.
So that is George Natembea, and he is very clear in his mind why he feels that people like Nakhumicha should not allow themselves to be enslaved by the people who purport to have, propelled them into those positions. But why do you think Wetangula would want to set Nakhumicha against Natembea? Because I was thinking, like, why can't he find someone, a veteran politician, someone who has been there before, who can face, Natembea, so that they meet head on? And I was thinking, Natembea is accusing those who have been there before him of doing nothing. And Wetangula understands that if he would choose someone who has been there before, then it will fall into ashes, because it will now fit into Natembea's argument that the very, very people who are now being set to compete against him are the people who have been there and they've never helped anyone. So it will be very difficult for a veteran politician, someone who has been there before, to even start competing with Wetangula, because that is the main argument, that all the people that you see here always get power for their own sake. And if they have to do something, it would be giving jobs to their friends and their relatives. And so trying to give Natembea, an older politician who has held some leadership positions, will not work. And so Nakhumicha comes as a fresh blood, so that as Natembea will be campaigning that the people who have been there have not done anything to the Luhya nation, then Susan Nakhumicha will be safe because she's not part of the old regime. And I think Wetangula feels that when he gives fresh blood, then it can work. Number two, you've seen that there is clamor for women leadership. In Machakos, we have Governor Wavinya Ndeti. Anne Waiguru, I think for the second time, is now leading Kirinyaga. We know that we have Governor Gladys Wanga in Homa Bay. And he understands that if he supports Nakhumicha or pushes her to compete against Natembea, then there will be that sympathy votes, or people will just like I've said, there is a clamor for women leadership. People might consider giving Nakhumicha. But if you look at the ladies who have gone for it, they are not going there because they want sympathy. They go for it. They explain what they want to do, and people have chosen them based on their strength. Because I have seen women in this country say that they want a level playing ground with men. They explain what they want so that they go into those leadership positions, not because of sympathy, not because of what, but because they are able to deliver. And you've seen most of them are doing a good job. You saw Gil worked, Gil was the governor for 2 terms, I think, and the exchange with Malombi and all that, but she also did a good job in Kitui. So Wetangula knows very well that he throws in Nakhumicha, then with that women leadership, and I know, you remember the other day Ruto was saying that they need to change the constitution or just a policy so that if someone who's contesting for presidency is a man, then you need a female as your deputy, and that should reflect at the county level so that you have a woman and a man together. So that is what he's really trying. And he is also doing this because he knows very well that Susan Nakhumicha will play loyalty to him. He still wants to remain one of the Luhya spokesperson. He wants to remain the Mulembe Buhusu kingpin. And if he gets someone with serious ambitions, then he will be challenged. And he needs Susan Nakhumicha. If Susan succeeds, Susan will be a governor, but pledging allegiance to Moses Wetangula. She cannot compete Moses Wetangula. And that is Moses wants her. Moses does not need ambitious leaders like Natembea, because what Natembea is preaching is fire, and is fiery at the same time. Natembea is saying that we need to unite as the Mulembe community. We are so many, but someone is using divide and rule tactics so that Wetangula kona sijui wabunge 4, Mudavadi 5, wengine huku, so that you cannot speak as one. And he says because of that, they have never achieved anything. And then they are hoodwinked by some small leadership positions at their home and dry. And is saying they must change this narrative.